In the realm of space exploration, a recent discovery by India has ignited curiosity and certain discussions globally. Deep within the moon, the discovery made by India's Chandrayaan-3 mission has ignited a storm in the world of space exploration. Neil deGrasse Tyson's recent statement suggests that India may have made a significant discovery not previously acknowledged by NASA, and this revelation has triggered a lively debate within the scientific community. This unexpected find has prompted questions that capture the imagination of both scientists and the public alike. What exactly did India find on the moon that NASA might have kept under wraps? Could this discovery reshape our understanding of lunar explorations? And what could this mean for the future of space exploration? Join us as we delve into the heart of India's lunar explorations, uncovering undisclosed information on the moon that has scientists terrified. India's Chandrayaan-3 lander, Vikram, touched down on the moon's south pole just recently, and it's already made some major contributions to science. Neil deGrasse Tyson, a renowned astrophysicist, expressed his excitement about the success of India's lunar mission, highlighting its significance as the fourth nation to reach such an incredible feat. The Indian Space Research Agency organization mission not only made history because it saw the nation become the fourth to successfully land on the moon after the Soviet Union, the United States, and China, but also because it made India the pioneer explorer of the moon's south polar region. The spacecraft arrived on the satellite's unexplored South Pole, securing India's place as the first country to achieve this ambiguous accomplishment. Its rover, named Pragyan, embarked on an exploration of the rocky terrain, equipped with 2 instruments for conducting chemical experiments. And now, India's space agency has published groundbreaking data collected by the bold robot. Pragyan's finding offered a new insight into what makes up the lunar soil. While scientists were not so surprised by the presence of elements such as titanium, aluminum, iron, and calcium in the rocks, they were stunned to note the high concentration of sulfur, much higher than expected. Scientists say that this sought-after element is usually found near volcanoes on Earth, so its appearance on the moon hints at our satellite's volcanic history as well as past atmospheric conditions. This discovery is significant for a number of reasons, but the most significant is that sulfur could enhance the frequency of space exploration and help create a human base on the moon. Jeffrey Gillis Davis, a planetary scientist, pointed out that astronauts and robots could travel from the South Pole base to collect, store, and use naturally occurring materials like sulfur on the moon, a concept called in situ resource utilization. In situ resource utilization means fewer trips back to Earth to get supplies and more time and energy to be spent on exploring. Using sulfur as a resource, astronauts could build cells and batteries that use sulfur, mix up sulfur-based fertilizer, and make sulfur-based concrete for construction. The planetary scientist went on to further explain that the sulfur-based concrete has several advantages over more common variety used in buildings, pointing out that it hardens and becomes strong within hours rather than in weeks and is more resistant to wear. Interestingly, it does not require water in the mixture, so astronauts could save their valuable water for drinking, crafting breathable oxygen, and making rocket fuel. The presence of sulfur on the moon's south pole also suggests the highland soils at the lunar poles could have very different compositions to highlands at the lunar equatorial regions. This newly discovered element could change our initial understanding of how the moon works as a geological system, given the fact that sulfur mainly comes from volcanic activity. But still, it appears there's plenty of work to be done, and while this is just one small step in Chandrayaan-3's successful mission, it could mean a great leap in how we view our dear celestial companion. Reports suggest that India may have uncovered a discovery on the moon, a revelation that hints at hidden information not disclosed by NASA. For most of the 20th century, scientists thought the moon's surface was bone dry. The 382 kilograms of rock and soil samples brought by the Apollo mission to Earth attested to this. Just when they found traces of water in their samples, scientists dismissed them as extraterrestrial contamination. After all, any water on the moon's surface would quickly evaporate due to being directly exposed to the vacuum of space. In addition to the moon's low gravity, this would make water vapor escape quickly into space. Despite this contradicting phenomenon, scientists did not give up finding traces of water on the moon, and after decades of trying, they finally discovered water on the moon. Just as Neil deGrasse Tyson emphasized that setbacks in space endeavors are not the end, but rather a nudge to try again with renewed vigor, he emphasized the inherent difficulty and value of such endeavors. But where exactly did the water come from? Scientists know that comets and many types of asteroids contain water. For a large part of our solar system's existence, these objects have been continually bombarding the planets and their moons. Apparently, this is why the moon is covered in craters, and scientists think the asteroids and comets responsible for them could have deposited water on the moon. While most of the water must have evaporated, some fraction of it could have found its way into the permanently shadowed region of the lunar poles, where it can stay preserved for billions of years like sitting inside a refrigerator. In 1994, NASA launched Clementine Lunar Orbiter, the bistatic radar experiment, which beamed radio signals straight into the permanently shadowed regions. The signals bounced off the region and were received by ground stations on Earth. Scientists found the nature of reflected signals to be consistent with water ice, but the data was inconclusive. However, in 1998, NASA sent another orbiter called the Lunar Prospector into space, this time to find out if the moon was hiding water ice deposits. Its neutron spectrometer found the nature of neutrons in the soil of the permanently shadowed region correspond with the presence of hydrogen atoms. Could these hydrogen atoms be part of a water molecule? With the data from Clementine and Lunar Prospector, scientists were almost certain there must have been water on the moon, but they needed to be absolutely sure, hence information was withheld from the public until Chandrayaan-1 discovery a decade later. It has been widely believed that the moon was dry, but data obtained from India's Chandrayaan-1 mission allegedly found clear evidence of water there, concentrated at the poles and possibly formed by the solar wind. What is more interesting is that the water appears to be still forming, advancing the possibility that indeed human life could be sustained there. Scientists hope that astronauts could one day not only drink the water, but also extract oxygen from it to breathe and use the hydrogen as fuel. The man who led the mission, Dr. Miles Sweeney-Anderray, expressed how pleased he was at the discovery, which significantly enhanced India's position in its space race with China. He stated that the results were very satisfying as one of the main objectives of the Chandrayaan-1 is to find evidence of water on the moon. The reports from the Indian mission were backed up by findings of 2 other studies to be published in the Journal of Science. An important thing to note is that when they say water on the moon, we are not talking about lakes, oceans, or even puddles. Water on the moon means molecules of water and hydroxyl, that is, hydrogen and water, that interact with molecules of rock and dust, specifically in the top millimeters of the moon's surface. Water and rare elements were not the only enigmatic discoveries by India's space exploration of the moon. India's lunar lander also presented the first evidence of a potential moonquake since the 1970s. The instrument for lunar seismic activity attached to the Vikram lander detected seismic activity on the surface of the moon 3 days after it landed on the moon's south pole. If this unusual movement is confirmed, the moonquake, which the mission detected alongside other activity, including the movements of India's Pragman rover, gave scientists a rare insight into the mysterious churning innards of Earth's lunar companion. The lander recorded an event appearing to be a natural one on the 26th of August, 2023. However, the source of this event is still under investigation, as this would not be the first time seismic activities would be detected on the moon. The Apollo lunar mission between 1969 and 1977 first detected seismic activity on the moon, and this proved that the moon indeed has a complex geological structure hidden deep within, rather than being uniformly rocky like the Martian moons Phobos and Deimos. However, in recent years, advanced analysis tools and computer models have enabled scientists to scrutinize the data gathered by Apollo and other missions to build a clearer picture of the moon's mysterious interior. In addition to this, a 2011 NASA study revealed that the moon's core, much like Earth's, was made up of a fluid iron surrounding a dense, solid iron ball. In May 2023, researchers used gravitational field data to confirm that this iron core hypothesis was also a suggestion that blobs of the moon's molten mantle could be separated from the rest, floating to the surface as clumps of iron and generating quakes as they went. These findings are just the beginning of the moon's secrets. Magnetic fields are produced inside planetary bodies by the churning movement of material in planets' electrically conductive molten cores. It would seem that the Vikram made a handful of discoveries on its eventful trip to the moon, and among them is the detection of varying temperature levels on the moon's soil. Vikram measured the soil temperatures near the lunar south pole on the surface and underground for the first time. The probe measured about 3 inches in the soil and found it was about 140 degrees Fahrenheit colder at the surface. It would seem that the sunlight from the lunar days does not penetrate the layers beneath the lunar surface. This phenomenon is something that could be observed on Earth too. It is the same thing you can feel by digging your hands down into the sand on a hot day at the beach. If you wriggle your fingers far enough down, the Earth will be cool, unaffected by the sun's rays, says Paul Hain, a planetary scientist at the University of Colorado Boulder. India's Space Research Agency scientists hope the measurements they take will help them understand the moon's thermal behaviors. Among the discoveries amassed by the Vikram lander is the first measurement of the moon's ionosphere. Another device on the Vikram lander, called the Langmuir probe, which helps characterize plasma, has been able to measure the density and temperature of the moon's ionosphere for the first time. There's still a lot to be learned about the moon's south pole region. Right now, the solar-powered Vikram lander and its rover are scheduled to reawaken after a 14-day night. The instruments are set to recharge over this 14-day period, but unfortunately, there is a very high chance that the rover might not reawaken. This is because their electronics might die in extreme cold of the lunar night. Al Jazeera reported. Pallava Bagla, an author who has written books about India's space exploration, told Al Jazeera that India does not have access to technology that could withstand temperatures less than negative 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And according to NASA, nighttime temperatures on the moon have been measured as low as negative 334 degrees Fahrenheit. India's unexpected findings on the moon have prompted questions that captured the imagination of both scientists and the public alike. Now that we have unraveled what NASA kept under wraps of the moon, what this means for the future is left to our imaginations. What discovery on the moon did you find most shocking? The evidence of rich, sought-after elements, the existence of water that has kept scientists on their toes for years, evidence of a potential moonquake, temperature changes underground, or the first measurements of the moon's ionosphere? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.